Hello everyone. Welcome to the day 10 of Core Java. So now let's move forward, and today we will be studying the next concept in Java, that is strings. So what is a string? A string is a sequence of characters that is used to represent text. So if you have to write a simple character, then we use characters. But if we have to write a sequence of characters like a word, so for that we use strings. So the simple definition of string is a string is a sequence of characters that is used to represent text. Strings are objects in Java and they are part of the java.lang package. So we have Java string class and we know that strings are objects in Java. So strings have a property that is they are immutable in nature. What it means? It means that once created, they cannot be changed. So now let's move forward. So how can we create strings in Java? So we can create strings in Java by first using string literal. So what does string literal means? String literal means we use the string keyword, then we specify the variable name, and then we write our word, our text in double quotes. So this means a string literal. So the next way to create strings is using the string constructor. So string constructor, that is by using the new keyword. So we use the string keyword and then we create a variable and then we use the new keyword to create a string and then we pass our value in the double quotes. So these are the most two common ways of creating strings. So now let's see practical example of creating a string. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a string, simple string, which is going to print hello world. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are just going to print the value of our string 1. Now let's run our code. So you can see here, we can see the output as hello world. So what we did, we created a string literal here. So this is one way of creating strings. Now we are going to see another way of creating string, that is by using our new keyword. Let's create a string 2. And what we are going to do, we are going to just use our string constructor. And then I'm going to pass the value hello world here also. So what are we doing here? We are using new keyword. So now let's see what error it is giving me. Just my variable string 2 is not used. So what we are going to do, we are going to just print the value of our str2. Now let's run our code. So you can see we got the value as hello world 2 times here. So first we created a string using our string literal and then we created the string using the new keyword. So these are the two common ways of creating a string. So now let's move forward. Next is string concatenation. So let's assume I have two different strings. So what I did in the example, I just wrote hello world in a single string and I printed it. So I got the value as hello world. So let's assume I have two separate strings which says one string says hello world and another string says good morning. And I want to append it. So I can do it by using the plus operator. So the plus operator is overloaded in Java to do mainly two things. So one, we can perform addition using our plus keyword and a plus operator. And the next work, what we can do, we can concatenate a string in Java using a plus operator. And next we have a concat method. So in Java specifically, we have certain methods that are string supports. So concat is one of the methods that are string supports. What we do, we just, what I have done here, I have created a variable string 4 and I have concatenated one white space that I have written str1.concat and I have given double quotes here dot concat string 2. So what I did here, I did the same that was done using plus operator. Here also I concatenated string 1 and string 2, that is, and I will get the output as hello world. So now let's see a practical example of it. So these were the two ways of creating strings. So now let's create two string using only my string letter. Okay, here I'm going to just write good morning. So what I want to do, I just want to concatenate them. So first I'm going to do I'm going to print my str1 plus str2. So now let's see the output of it. So I got the output as hello world and good morning. So we can see we have no space here. So we can add the space here by providing a simple double quotes here and plus here. And now we'll be running our code. Now you can see I got the output as hello world and good morning. So this is one way of concatenating. What is this? This is one way of concatenating our strings. So we have also another way to concatenate string. So let's see, I want to create a string 4. So for creating string 4, what I will be doing, I want the concatenation of both of the string. So I'm going to just use my concat method, str1.concat, and I'm just going to add some white space here. And then I'm going to concat it again. And I will just add string 2 here. And now I'm going to just print the value of my string 4. So now let's run our program again. So you can see here by using both of the things, we got our output. Our string 1 and string 2 got concatenated. So this is a general way of concatenating two strings in Java. So now let's move forward. So our string supports several methods. So it supports many methods. Some of the common methods used by string is first is length. So what does length method do? Length method specifies, returns the length of the string. Then we have our char at. So char method returns us the character at a specified index. So we pass a specific index as parameter to this method. And when we run it, we get the output that what character is present in our string at that specified index. So the next method that we have is substring. So substring, what it does, as the name suggests, it extracts the substring from our string. So here we pass two parameters. First is our begin index and next is our end index. So we specify from which index to which index we want our substring to be extracted. So now let's see a practical example of it. So first we are going to just see the practical example of length method. Okay. We are just going to see the practical example of length method. So what I'm going to just do, I'm going to just print the length of my string 1. So now let's run it. So as you can see, we got the output as 11. So now let's count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we got output as 11 as it also counts our white space. As we had one space between hello and world, so it counted that space also. So this was our first method. And the next method that we read was substring. Okay. So now let's first study char at. Okay. So I want to know that at fourth index, what is my value? So I'm just going to write str1. Okay, second str1 dot char at index 4. So here we just specify our index. And now we are going to run our program. So you can see here, we got the output as O, as we have O at our fourth index. So how it starts counting? It starts from the 0th index, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it got O at the 4th index and it returns it as the output. So our next method was substring. So now we are going to just take an example of substring. So I am going to str1 dot substring. So we are going to use this. So we can also specify the begin index, and we can only just specify the end index, and we can specify both begin and end index. So now let's specify 1 here and let's specify 5 here. So now let's see what it will give me as output. So here I got ELLO. So it started from 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we got the output as ELLO. So now let's specify it as 4. So here there was white space. So we got the output as ELLO. So now let's change our end index as 4 and then run it again. So when we run it again, we could see that we got the output as ELL. But our fourth index was O. So what it does, it includes our begin index, but it excludes our end index. So we get the value of the substring starting from the begin index till end index minus 1. So these are the common methods of our string. So now let's move forward. Now next is our string comparison. So whenever we use something, we have studied about different operators: double equal to, not equal to, greater than equal to, less than equal to. So that are used for comparison of our variables that are of numeric type. Okay, so if we want to compare two strings, so how can we compare it? So we have two ways to do it. First, we have an equals method. So what does an equals method do? Equals method compares the content of our two strings and then return the Boolean output as true or false. Then we have double equal to operator. What it does, it compares the reference. It compares that to which object is our two strings pointing to. If they are pointing to different references, then it gives the output. So basically it checks both the reference and value. So if the reference and value both are same, it gives the output as true, else it gives the output as false. So this is the general difference between both of our equals and double equal to operator. So this is commonly used for comparison in our Java for comparing strings. So now let's see a practical example of string comparison. So now let's create two strings. First, I have created string str1. Now I'm going to create one more string. So now let's see output in both cases. So first, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just print str1 dot equal. So I'm going to use equals method here. What it is going to do, it is going to compare it with string 2. Now let's run. So it gave me the output as true. Now let's also execute it using our, 1 second. So now let's also execute it using our double equal to operator. Now let's run it. So what output did we get? So here also we got the output as true. So in both the cases, we first used our double equal to operator and equals, and we saw the output as true. So now let's do something. Okay. Now let's use our second way of creating string. So here I'm going to use my second way by using the new keyword. Okay, string constructor, and let's write the same string here, that is hello world. And now I'm going to compare my string 2 and string 3. Now let's change here only. So now we will see that what will be the difference between both of the methods of comparing strings, or we will be getting the output as same or different. Let's see it. So now there is a difference. So now when we created our string, by first using string literal and then by using the new keyword. We saw when we use the equals method, we got output as true. But when we use double equal to compare both of the strings, we got the output as false. So this is the difference between double equal to operator and equals method. As double equal to operator compares the reference and value, and dot equals only compares the value. Now let's move forward. Next is our string manipulation. So let's assume I have my string and I want to change it. So I want to remove the white spaces. For that, I can use my trim method. I want to change the case. That is, I want to convert my string into uppercase or lowercase. So for that, we have different methods in string. That is, to convert our string in uppercase, we have two uppercase method. And for converting our string into lowercase, we have two lowercase method. And for trimming the white spaces, so I want to remove any of the white spaces present in my string. So for that, I can use my trim method. So this is the general way of manipulating a string in Java. So these were the general methods that are used commonly. So behind that, we have some more methods for strings. We have some more not. We have many methods in strings that we can use. So right now I have only told you about these methods. So now let's see a practical example of these methods also that I told you right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just, so let's create, I have my string 1. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just convert it in uppercase. So now let's take a string, and what it is going to do, it is going to change. So let's take it as lowercase. Okay, I'll change my variables. So this is my lowercase, and I'm also going to convert my string to uppercase. So now let's see how does it works. Okay, I have not printed anything, so we will not be getting any value of anything. So let's just print it and run our program. So now let's see. So here we can see when we converted our string into uppercase, we could see our string in capital letters, and when we convert our string into lowercase, we could see our string in lowercase. So this is the example of converting my string into uppercase and lowercase. So our next method was trim. So what I'm going to just do, I'm going to create a variable t, which is going to store the trimmed case of my string. So now let's just print it. So now, so here what it did, we trimmed the spaces. So what it does, here we can see we are seeing the value as hello space world. So why didn't trimmed any spaces? So now let's do one thing. Let's just add space at the last and at the front of the string. And then let's run up from again. So now you can see, we can see our above two strings. Here we have got space at the left side, and we can see the alignment of the two above strings is right justified more than the third string. And we can see the trim method worked here. It removed the beginning and the trailing white spaces from the string. So this is the work of our trim method. So now we have understood the work of our two lowercase, two uppercase, and trim method of string. So now performance considerations. So we know that our string is immutable in nature. So will it affect something? Yes, it will create difficulties later on by using string. If you want to change its nature later in our program or anywhere where we are using strings. So what is the solution of it? The solution of it is string builder and string buffer. So these are the two classes provided in Java which makes our string mutable in nature. So we will be studying about both the string builder and buffer in our next class, and we are also going to study that where we store our string literals and our new keyword string and string builder and string buffer in the next class. Thank you everyone for watching.